Hi, welcome to Midweek camera roll number 6. Now I'm fresh back from my Scandi trip. That was Wednesday we arrived, well, Tuesday night we arrived back, so obviously getting back into the swing of things for Wednesday going forward. Work, catching up with work. And trying to throw video together is quite taxing because I'm processing the images. I've got loads of pictures to go walk through. So this video, I'll try and make it quick, so quick intro. There will be a photography video which will cover some walkabout stuff as well as a bit of tripod action. But for the most part, as I normally do when I'm doing vlogging, I take loads of pictures. So we're going to look at images from Norway, Sweden, I'm coming down Scandi, Norway and Sweden, and a little bit of Ostend in Belgium as well as Calais in France. And this is primarily because we left Dover at 6 a.m. We arrived at Calais 7 a.m., 7:30. It was morning. We had to drive all the way up to Sweden. That was the end goal. So there was no photography on the trip going. And then when we came back, we had one stopover, a lot of night driving, but we had one stopover in Hamburg where I did the miniature world. I've always wanted to visit there. There's a video on my Tudor Travels channel if you're interested in model railways. Throwback to my youth. So the photography is Norway, Sweden, and as we were coming back, we had plenty of time to stroll around Ostend and then Calais while we were waiting for the ferry. So let's have a look at the images and see if I can talk you through some of my thought processes. Okay, I've realised that looking at the pictures, queuing them all up, that kind of thing, there's more of Norway than there is of anything else. And I think that's partly because Norway was the first, where I grew up in. I grew up in Norway and Sweden from the age of 13 to 18. So all my teenage years. And I think Norway, because it's the eye-opener, you know, as a young teenager, where you're growing up, shall we say? You're becoming more aware, self-aware, as well as aware of your environment and everything like that. Norway's the place that I find enchanting. Sweden's fantastic as well, but so we've got lots of Norway, some of Sweden, and Ostend and Calais. I think 3 of each, something like that. So let's start then, and we'll take a look at what I got. This is Svanen, and I thought, I've got a picture of it in the daylight, but it was the evening of Saturday and James decided he would stay back at the Airbnb, and I thought, I need to see if I can capture a few night shots of the harbour. And Svanen was a boat that the school kids, it would be a week's trip. So the school we were in, they would take a handful of pupils, 25, 30, and they'd go sailing up and down the fjords for a week. I didn't get the opportunity to do it, but I thought, if I can capture the ship. So this is a long exposure, I think it's about 15 seconds or something like that. The water was calm anyway, but you can see it shimmering. And that allowed the illumination from the sky, from the street lights, because it was cloudy and overcast, to be all this orange hue. Kind of like it. And then walking back to the Airbnb, I was chatting with this guy, first of all speaking to me in Norwegian, and then, because I can speak Swedish, I didn't want to attempt to speak Norwegian, because it's very different. In as much as I can talk English, which is RP, received pronunciation, where I try and speak all the words and the letters, you know, like a BBC broadcaster. But then you can go up north to Liverpool, Newcastle, Scotland, and sometimes it's very hard to understand what these people are saying. So it's the same with Norwegian. If someone's speaking Norwegian to you and you're Swedish, they pronounce words differently. But anyway, I caught him walking off up the street, and I was kind of down the hill, and I thought, if I can just get the shot with the road at the bottom curving up, looks something out of The Exorcist, doesn't it? Going into the town then, this is on the first day. So these pictures are kind of not in chronological order, but just as I see them. You've got Karl Johansgarten, which starts at the Royal Palace and then goes all the way down to Central Station. It's one long thoroughfare, shops, park, and skyscrapers. I've got a couple of shots from of Karl Johan's garden. This is looking up towards the palace. You can see hints of autumn are really hitting. So then turning around, you've got the road on the left, but you've got a footway on the right. So I thought, oh, let's see if I can capture a shot of all the trees. And you can actually see the trees are yellow on the right, but they're almost bereft of leaves on the left. You know, one gust of wind, you can see them all on the pavement. Just a kind of a street shot with people coming and going. And you can see the throngs of people all the way down. Perhaps they're all tourists like me. They have a fountain just outside National Theatre, or Nationaltheater, and it's illuminated at night. And I kind of, we were so pressed for time, and by the time we'd finished the day, I wasn't going to go back. I walked down to get a picture of the clipper ship, but yeah, it would be nice at night. It's all illuminated, but nonetheless, it was quite pleasant during the day. Turning to my left from the fountain, you've got the Narvesen. Now, Narvesen are a chain of convenience stores all throughout Norway, I think, but certainly in Oslo. And this is just at the train hub station, National Theatre. It's where all the trams kind of start and end. And if you're coming into town from anywhere, it's the hub. So you've got the T-Bahn sign, people milling about, another kind of street action shot. But I liked it because it was the building as well as the activity of the people. And, that's kind of what I'm going to remember from my trip to Norway. So crossing that road and looking down, so remember I showed you the picture of the palace. As I turned around, you get the view of Karl Johan's garden going all the way down. Yeah, lovely view. Again, maybe I need to go back for a long weekend and do some night photography, because I think any city, blue hour, night photography, that kind of thing, brings it to life, gives it a different dynamic. But I was happy to be there. The bus on the right has the hop on, hop off with the map of Norway on it. It was getting dusk when I took this shot, so we had come off our cruise. What we did, we bought the Oslo pass, and it cost us 1,040 krona, which is about £72. So divided between the two of us, 36 quid. It gave us free travel all throughout the city and free entry to all the museums for a period of 24 hours. And I thought that was excellent value for money. And they say Norway's expensive, right? 36 quid to see. We actually saw 3 museums. We travelled the tricks, which are the trams. The Norwegians call them tricks because there used to be horse-drawn trams in the city. And then Norway went electric. So they call them tricks. There's a blue one on the right there. You shall take the trick to Holmenkollen, if you were asking someone. So yeah, I thought, look, it's the Hotel Continental. It was dusk, we'd finished, and we were taking the number 30 bus back to where we were staying. Hotel Continental made me think of John Wick. No business shall be conducted on the grounds of the Hotel Continental. This was when we were going up to Holmenkollen. This is a shot from my GoPro. I've kind of freeze-framed it, only because I wanted to show you that we were travelling on the public transport. I was so eager just to get on the tram and get up there that I didn't actually have my camera out at the time. We got up to Holmenkollen. It was the foggiest day. So here's a shot here. This might actually be also a shot from my GoPro. It's a bit blurry, but equally it was foggy. It really was. Couldn't really see that. So we went up to the top of the ski jump. In fact, here's an overview shot of what Holmenkollen ski jump looks like, so you can get your bearings as to where we were. So we came back to the top. I say back to the top. We got to the top. You could not see a thing. Beyond the wall of the perimeter of this tower, that was it. And they had first, second and third platform there. So I said to James, take 3 shots of me. And we kind of levelled the camera up. Because I love superimposing stuff. First, yeah. Second, are you sure you won? Third, because if you're not first, you're the loser, right? Just a bit of fun in Oslo. Another shot from the town centre then. So, you know, I gave you that portrait shot. Is kind of the similar shot, but as landscape, capturing more of the National Theatre on the right and Karl Johan's Garden on the left. Still a lot of people going down there. Here we've got a Narvesen, and this one looks like it's probably from the 50s. Could even be the 30s and 40s, who knows? It looks Art Deco. These are kiosks, traditional kiosk. And obviously it's a Narvesen, so it's a convenience store, drinks, hot dogs, that kind of stuff. But to see that, it's kind of the essence of Oslo for me. Here's a shot of one of those pots with the heather in, but I loved how all the leaves have fallen off the tree and they've gathered in the pot, on the rim of the pot, on the ground. A bit of reflection on the top there from the building behind. A random statue. I say random, there's a plaque on the at the foot there. I didn't read it, but I thought, yeah, that's a pretty nifty sculpture. And there are lots in Oslo. You just walk around, you see them everywhere. So I thought I'd take a picture of him. One man on his bike. We decided to do a cruise on the fjord. Now, if you've got your Oslo pass, the ferry on the right there, you can see just the white top, is actually part of the public transport system. And they've got 5 little islands in Oslo fjord with houses. One has a church. So little communities. And basically to access it, I think the last ferry finishes at like midnight or 1 o'clock. And they're all electric powered. And you just use your Oslo pass. It actually costs 40 krona if you didn't have a pass, which I think is about £3.20 or something. But with the Oslo pass, we just jumped on. It took us an hour to go around the field, but very relaxing. So I've got a few shots from the cruise on the field. Here's one of the castle. This is Akerbrug, which is apparently the castle that inspired the castle in the Frozen, you know, Elsa and the snowman. I think I've seen it once with the grandkids. So then cruising along, I'm seeing all this wondrous colour. I've not enhanced this or anything. I've tried to dehaze it to try and capture what I was seeing with my eye, because it was a misty, hazy day. But look at the floral. It's kind of a blanket of leaves. And then there's the rock face going up on the right of the picture. Beautiful colours. Then we would see things like, as I said, each of them had little islands, and each of the islands had these tiny little houses, and kind of atypical of a Scandinavian scene, where each house is a different colour, and yet hints of autumn as well. So, yeah, I thought we'd capture that. As we docked just on the left here, I thought, what a great view. It's a shame it wasn't blue hour or maybe a sunny day, but nonetheless, I've got hints of autumn. I've got the fjord. I kind of like this. There's a mist rolling in on the island at the back as well. So we arrived back, and we're back in the town, and I saw a trick. I kind of love this kind of thing. It's capturing the hubbub of a city, isn't it? And if it's London, you're going to be taking pictures of a red bus, right? A double-decker bus or a London taxi. So I'm kind of trying to capture the city by capturing pictures of tricks. We're walking past where that tram was, spun round to the left, and it's Alfred Nobel, the Nobel Peace Centre. I always thought he was Swedish, but I think he's Norwegian, isn't he, Alfred Nobel? But they do the presentations in Stockholm, I understand. Maybe he is. Maybe it's just a connection. I'll put it on the screen now. But because it's Nobel and it's peace, Yoko Ono had an exhibition, Peace is Power. So I thought, yeah, I'll capture that. Just, she won't be having an exhibition forever, will she? Walking back to the National Theatre, then we're heading back to get our bus, and you're walking along these streets and kind of, I wouldn't say alleyways, it's all grids, like in America. So this street connects to that street, to that street. And Blue Hour's about to happen, so of course all the illumination from inside the buildings. But the people are still outside having their coffees and having their smokes. Yes, kind of enchanting. Can you imagine that as an Edward Hopper painting, on a canvas, or any one of those people that do paintings of street scenes? Well, here I am doing it as a photograph. Slightly blurred, but it's, again, trying to capture the essence of the tram or the trick going down. This is the road that's parallel to Karl Johan's Gatan, so they kind of go down together. And I remember once seeing someone knocked over by a tram when I was a teenager. They were trying to cycle, and the tram was coming, and then they got their wheel caught in the train tracks, the tram tracks, and the tram stopped just in time, but it did impact the cyclist. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but it was like a shock moment. There's perhaps a clearer picture. I think that older one, back to that previous picture, that's an older trick. So here's the modern ones, kind of like those new buses we get in London now, right? I thought I'd be arty, and there was another tram coming, so I got down low, just by it as it swung by. Yeah, kind of got the movement of the tram. I should have had it as a longer exposure, but it's spur of the moment photography, right? But if I was to plan that, now that I've taken it, it's kind of like doing a scouting session, isn't it? I caught a couple of street scenes of people. This is a bit blurred, but the bus is coming, and I thought they're all going to start charging to try and get on the bus. Let's see if I can take a shot or two. But this one's more appropriate because, like any public transport, even if you're first, someone behind you wants to barge past and get on board. So I thought, yeah, that's cool. And that girl in front with the brown jacket, she served me up at the Holmenkollen so that we could get in. So I was looking at her thinking, I know you. Where do I know you from? I can see there's a girl looking at me at the back there. She caught me holding my camera up. Norwegians. And this might be Sunday now. We're going down to the Fram Museum to see Roald Amundsen's boat and the Kon-Tiki. But again, I caught the colours. So you've got the green ferns, and you've got the, is it a larch? I don't know, willow. But the grey sky. Photo opportunity of colours. Standing on the edge of the harbour by the museum, this huge cruise liner comes by. It doesn't look too big there, but you're like looking up, and the people are all on the edge there, waving at you and stuff. So I thought I'd catch a picture of that. So this is the Fram Museum. What they did in the 30s, maybe the 20s, they took the boat. We've got our Kon-Tiki, and it's on dry land. They hauled it up onto the dry land, and then they built the museum around it. Fascinating. And here's some statues outside. Roald Amundsen in the front. I think it was 11th of December 1911, something like that. I'll put it on the screen, when they landed at the South Pole. And they got there before Robert Falcon Scott, didn't they? I speak about that on my video that I'm going to release on my Tudor travels, because I do a walk around in the museum. So by the time I've made that video, I'll put a link up here. But otherwise, pop over to my channel in the description below, and you can catch all my walkabouts in Oslo. That's a rear view of the same statue. But they're all looking out. We are explorers, and I think that's kind of what the statues saying to me. So I thought I would catch that. They're looking out saying, what is beyond? Where can I go to discover some stuff? There is Roald Amundson's boat, the Fram. So as you can see, the museum's fabulous, interactive. You can walk all 3 floors, seeing things. You can walk into the boat. So on the top level, they've got gantries going over, and then you've got 3 tiers within the boat. Again, check out my video. It's going to be fun. Well, it'll be fun for me because I enjoyed doing it. We then crossed the road to the Kon-Tiki Museum, and I was filming, but I forgot to take any pictures. So this is a picture from James. He managed to take a shot. Thor Heyerdahl sailed the Pacific Ocean 1947, could be 48. He wanted to prove that indigenous species of different continents travelled to other continents. So we're talking BC, right? Because the Incas, or is it the Aztecs, have pyramids, and the Egyptians have pyramids. 3000 BC. His second exhibition was the Ra, and he sailed from Egypt along the Mediterranean and then to South America. But this Kon-Tiki journey was from South America to the Polynesian islands. So, Fiji and all of that stuff. Just to prove that the people of their time would have constructed vessels. This is made out of balsa wood, so super light, floating. I think it took them a number of weeks, I'm going to say, to sail the Pacific Ocean. But there you go, picture of the Kon-Tiki. And there's the exterior of the museum. I was a little put out by the Thai food and takeaway. Mat is food in Norwegian and Swedish. So Thai mat and takeaway. It's kind of like a blot on the landscape. What are you going to do, right? So there's the Svanen in the daytime, and that's what inspired me to think I need to take a picture of that at night. Oh, I told you it wasn't in chronological order. So this is at the top of the ski slope. So we're kind of standing where they sit on those perch things with their skis and then whoosh, all the way down. And that's all we could see. You just never know. You plan your holiday, and then you get there and it rains or it's foggy. So we're back in town, and I'm sat on the bus. We're going back to the Airbnb using our Oslo pass, and this guy's waiting for the next stop, and the light's shining down. He doesn't look like Lee Majors, really. But, when you're just looking, they're not looking, they're looking, they're not looking. I'm seeing Steve Austin, $6 million man. So I've got to grab a shot of him quickly. A discreet picture with my iPhone, pretending I'm looking at the iPhone, doing this. But the red hue makes me think that his bionic eye is casting a red hue. We went to the food hall, which was a vast open area with many food stalls from different countries and continents. So you had Mexican, you had Asian, you had Italian, you had burgers, you had fish, all sorts of restaurants. So we're sat in this restaurant, and I just saw the windows, and I thought, yeah, let's be arty, let's capture that. There's an overview of the Mart Hallen, which means food hall, Hallen being hall, and Mart being food. And you can see the middle area behind the silver chimney. That's where everyone's sitting. All along the edges and beyond where people are sitting are all the stalls with all the different food. It's a great place to just hang out and chill. The hub again, the activity. It's also got a market in the foreground there, so a butcher's. I really enjoyed my Scandi trip. We then go, and I'm in Sweden, taking a few shots. We didn't do a lot of sightseeing in Sweden. I took James to my old house at my old school, and we visited family. But during those kind of filming episodes and family meetings, we would stop, just take a few shots. So I'd seen this church where I spent my years in Sweden. I'd never been up to see it. So I said, let's go and see what this church looks like. And all churches in Sweden just kind of look the same, and they're well kept. The grounds are wonderful. Got hints of autumn there. And then I took a shot trying to be arty by getting more of the foreground, portrait, leaves on the front. Kind of nice. Then we're into Stenungsund. Stenungsund was the town. Stenungsund is where I lived, and they had a village centre. Village centre, town centre. So I thought I'd take James in there. So we parked up at the car park, and they've got a little fish house, Fiskhuset, where, you know, like if we're down in Folkestone, you get the fish market, right? So that's what it is. So the fishermen have brought it in because Stenungsund is by the sea. And they're all queuing up. I thought, yeah, get myself a shot of all the Swedes buying their fresh fish. Spun around to the right to see their latest catch offerings. I thought, that looks kind of arty. You know, it's all perfectly in line and everything, and we've got the lines of the wooden structure, different shades of white. That's me trying to be arty, that's all. Coming out from the supermarket, because we'd bought a few things, I could see the colours of the trees, so I just kind of got a shot going down the car park, a couple of people walking by. And then we saw the sign, and I remember seeing these signs all over the place. I don't know why I took a picture of it. It's mostly for memory. Systembolaget, and that means off licence. So basically, you want your booze, you go to the Systembolaget, you get your booze. I think that's all of Sweden. Just checking my things. One more shot of Sweden, and it's this one. No, two more shots. It's a harbour. Again, to me, it's a James Popsif's picture. Remember when if you've seen his images, he loves the pastels and the very lack of contrast. And he tries to make it almost the same colour. You really have to struggle to get his shots. But the sky's grey, and the buildings are white, and you've got these Scandi houses perched on cliffs. See the ones on the right there? I thought, oh yeah, I love that. I've got to get that shot. And then one last shot from Sweden, and I actually have a video of this where I was stopped by the police asking me what I was doing. But I'm not going to show it in this video. You'll have to watch my photo video, which will be hopefully out by Sunday. But I'd been passing this church backwards and forwards during the day. And I remembered seeing it the night we arrived, all illuminated. So I'm including it here, but it will be in my photo shoot. So that was Norway and Sweden. Fabulous time. Really a short time. Tried to cram in so much. So on the way home, we stopped off at Hamburg. I've got a video of the miniature world, which I'll link here if you're interested in model trains. And then I've got just a few pics of Ostend. I'd never been to Ostend, so I said to James, look, we're staying over in Bruges. Ostend is beyond Bruges, and then we'll drop down to Calais. Let's go and have a look. So not really knowing what to take a picture of, where to go, we started walking down the beach front, and I was surprised. This place is humongous. It's a proper city. There's an airport, there's a harbour, and there's all these skyscrapers. So as we're walking along, we're all in the shade, and you turn to your right as you come across a gap, and the sun is streaming through. And I just saw lines, 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 lines. Gotta have that. Another tram. I was getting into trams. This is a local transport in Ostend, so there's a tramway, just because. Back to the beachfront, and you can hire these buggy things. They're pedal driven, so no electricity, no, it's pedal power. And I think because the Belgians and the Dutch, they like their cycling. See the guy in the back on his bike. But you can hire these and go up and down the beach promenade. So you've got the dad really pushing it and the wife in the middle or girlfriend like, oh. But equally, she's pedalling and the kid is pedalling. So all three of them are pedalling, but the dad is steering. Or shall I say, Russell Crowe is steering. There was a photo shoot going on. It's a little blurry because I was trying to be quick, but she's posing on the left and the girl on the right snapping pictures. Thought, yeah, catch them in action. Talking of catching in action, we're walking along, and I'm as I do, as you should do as a photographer, looking up, looking left, looking right, and there's this girl cleaning her windows, or it might be a cleaner, who knows? But I thought, yeah, action shot, and again, lines, horizontal, vertical, angled, and even her top is lined. I like that. So then we're just in Calais. What happened was that our ferry was booked, I think, for 10:15, which would have got us into Dover at midnight, something like that. But if you book it with Flexi, you can travel anytime 4 hours before or after your booking time, as long as there is space. So we thought, we'll just drive. We'll finish in Ostend. We'll go and get the 6:15 ferry. So we got here at Calais at 4 o'clock. We couldn't get to the customs till 5:15 because you go in an hour before the ferry. So we're walking around Calais, and I took a couple of snaps, not many. I think it was this side street, and because I love history and I'm a little fascinated with World War II and everything that happened, I'm walking around thinking this was occupied by the Germans, well, the Nazis. I'm not going to say the Germans, because a lot of Germans had to toe the line, didn't they, with the Nazis in power. But this was occupied in World War II, and I'm thinking, I wonder if that building in the back there was an old building from that period. Yeah, it's just what I was thinking. They've got the lighthouse from Calais. If you followed me on Instagram, I posted a picture. I'm not going to show it here. But the lighthouse is behind me, and I'm seeing this road going down with the tram line and the block of flats, the old buildings, and the yellow buoy or buoy with Fer de Calais, which is the light or the lighthouse of Calais. Yeah, arty shot, isn't it? It's kind of a postcard image. So there you go. That's my photo exploration of Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Ostend and Calais. I'm going to push out. I think I've still got 3 videos to do. I've done one, which was as I mentioned, the miniature world, but I've got 2 photography ones and at least 1 walkabout, so another 3 to do. So make sure you check out my other channel, Tudor Travels, because they're all going on there, apart from the photography one. Right, I'm worn out. All that talking. I'm going to refill my coffee cup, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which is probably going to be Sunday. Bye for now.